This is Dustin from the Atheist Nomads, and I'm doing just a little special series of posts as I deal with something very personal. It just feels like this is something that is not normal for most people to have to deal with, so it's something that I think could be of value for all of you to be able to share in, especially for family members, but also just for anyone out there. So right now it is Sunday, August 21. I'm not going to be editing any of these. I'm recording them directly into my H4n as an MP3, and I'm going to be uploading exactly what I record. So it's going to be raw. There's going to be noise. It's not going to sound as good as I normally do, so don't judge me for that. I'm in Los Angeles, California. I found out on Friday that my father, who I hadn't seen in 22 years, died on July 28th. This was a shock. The shocking part wasn't that he died. The shock was that we found out. When he disappeared 22 years ago, we all thought we would never hear anything of or from him again. I knew he was alive until I turned 18 because I was getting Social Security disability dependent benefits because he was on disability for his very severe bipolar. And when I was 18, a PI for the state of Oregon tracked him down to Los Angeles and asked if we wanted to try to pursue back child support, and we didn't want to. I knew he'd been talking about moving to LA, but never thought it was going to happen, and then he did. So what had happened was Friday, a LA County deputy tracked down my mom, so his ex-wife, and let her know that he died of cardiac arrest and that he'd been in the hospital for several months on a ventilator. At this point, the only other thing we know is what hospital he died in and that he was in a mental institution for about the last 2 years. When we got this news, the body is still, I guess, intact would be the word. It hasn't gone to its final state. So, out of my 3 siblings and I, we decided that yes, somebody needed to be down here for it. We're paying for the cremation, and Saturday, so the day after finding out, Lauren and I hopped in the Jetta, and we made the 850-mile drive from Boise to Los Angeles. Now, Sunday morning at 9:12 a.m., I'm at a park right by the funeral home where in an hour I'll be filling out paperwork and the cremation will be happening. One of the things that is really interesting with this is the emotions. And I think my siblings, my mom was hit harder by this than she was expecting. My siblings and I, none of us were expecting the emotions we've been feeling. And it's really interesting. He was not a good father. No shit. He was not a good husband, at least those last 10 years. That's not surprising. He was ill. He was a victim of his mental illness, and so are all of us. Sorry. And with the maturity of adulthood, I think we've all been able to realize that, yes, we're all victims. Him included, and him most of. We don't know what's happened these last 22 years. We don't know if he's been doing okay, if he's been living on the street. Obviously, not doing great since he was on a ventilator and died at 68. That's still pretty young. and that he's been institutionalized for at least the last 2 years. But, okay, what happened for the 20 years before that? One of the biggest things I'm going to be doing while I'm here is trying to trace back 22 years of his history. After the cremation, we're going to be heading down to the hospital. We got the name of the hospital where he died, and I'm going to try to get some medical records. We do know that request has to be made in person. Fortunately, we're staying with one of Lauren's cousins who happens to live like a mile from that hospital, so that's going to be nice and convenient. From there, I hope to get a little bit more on cause of death than just cardiac arrest. That doesn't really tell you anything about how he died, just that he did. Everybody ultimately dies of cardiac arrest. So, why did he have cardiac arrest? Why was he on a ventilator? For my siblings and I, we have basically half of our family medical history is missing. That's important information to have, especially as my brothers are in their 40s now. My sister's also in her 40s. I'm in my 30s. That information's important. And just for peace of mind for all of us, for closure on this, now that we know something, we want to know what's in the middle. What's all that missing time? What happened? And it's weird. This whole thing is weird. It's fucked up. It's nerve-wracking. It's full of really weird mixed emotions. I took a class on death and dying in college for when I was working on a psychology minor that I didn't finish. I learned how to do grieving. This isn't that. This is something different. It's something unique. We all grieved him more than 20 years ago. And our lives were better without him. But again, with the mental health thing, the tragic thing is this is all too common for someone with severe mental illness to not be able to get the care that is needed, to end up alone, isolated. In his case, he isolated himself from us after we got at least some very needed distance for our own protection. Why? Was it all just paranoia? Was it delusions? Did he not want to be a burden? I don't know that I'm ever going to find answers for those questions, but if I can find anything, it's going to be well worth it. At this point, I think I've got you up to speed on the basics. I'll hopefully be able to get this uploaded tonight. And I should also have a couple more pieces for today, like right after the cremation. Honestly, I don't know if I'll be able to speak after that. I have no idea what emotions or how I'm going to handle all this. Fortunately, I have Lauren with me, and her love and support is wonderful and awesome to have. So I think that's it for now. It's now 3:30, and so far nothing has gone according to plan. We got to the funeral home, met with someone there, and filled out the paperwork. There was no opportunity to view the body. It would require at least 24 hours notice, and that would also all be dependent on whether or not the body was not decomposed past the point of being able to do that. The odds of that were very slim, so I didn't bother making the request. I mean, very slim. It's been almost a month. He wasn't embalmed. He's just been in cold storage for, just shy of a month. Decomposition does happen. It's slow at those temperatures, but it does happen. The bacteria living throughout our bodies eat our bodies when we die. So, yeah. Okay, so we got that part covered. I did get some information at the funeral home, though. I did get the hospital face sheet that they sent with the body. So that included a little bit more information, such as when he was admitted, that was June 5, where he was admitted from, and that was a nursing home, that he had been previously admitted to the hospital in January, that he had a G-tube, or gastrointestinal tube, and respiratory failure. So that explains why he was on a ventilator. Okay, so why was he having respiratory failure? What was the story there? That's not something I'm aware of any family members dealing with before. So that's different. We did stop at the nursing home. I don't have my birth certificate with me, so the odds of being able to get anything from the hospital is too slim, so we didn't even bother going in. And it's Sunday. Medical records offices aren't usually open on Sunday. That was definitely the case for the nursing home. So we talked briefly with the receptionist, but didn't get anything, so we're going to call medical records tomorrow. I also reached out to the county official that contacted us. She is not a deputy with the sheriff's department or any department like that. She is a deputy administrator with the tax department. So that's a little bit different. Treasurer and tax department. So I sent her an email to see what I can find out. Also reached out to my boss to see, okay, how much time exactly do I get off for this? And there's actually a chance it might end up being 5 days. I don't know if I want to take that much time down here. But I want to find stuff out. This is quite the mystery, and especially now that we've found that the narrative that we previously heard is not accurate. Maybe it was just a simplified narrative, but that's not... He wasn't hospitalized since January, so maybe he was in a mental institution for the 2 years prior to the first hospitalization. I don't know. So I need to still need to find stuff out. So hopefully I can get some documentation from the Treasury Department, County Treasury Department, to bolster the claim that I am next of kin, so that I can get access, and that he is deceased, so I can get some access to some medical records and find out, what the hell happened. At this point, I'm exhausted. I drove for over 13 hours yesterday. I haven't slept well the last 2 nights. Emotionally, I'd say I'm doing just fine. I'm tired. And Lauren might have picked up a little bit of food poisoning. Her cousin definitely did. We ate at an Ethiopian restaurant yesterday, and it was absolutely delicious, but they split a combo deal that was meant for 2 people, and they're the ones feeling ill. Lauren's cousin's husband is fine. He ate something different. I ate something different, and I'm fine. So, we'll we'll see how that ends up turning out. We're in LA. We're gonna see what else we can do, and hopefully not just do a tour of the medical facilities, medical records offices of Los Angeles. We did the nursing home was in Koreatown, so Lauren has been wanting me to actually have real ramen, not that top ramen stuff that we know of in the U.S. And so she found a place that had it. It was in Little Tokyo. She assumed that was nearby and hit navigate. And we got in the car, and no, it was not nearby. It was back across town. Yeah, it's like right next to downtown, like right next to City Hall. And so the ramen was really good, but I got really warm. There was a festival going on for like Japan Celebration or something like that in Little Tokyo, so we walked around a little bit of that. Yeah, it was pretty cool, but a lot of people, a lot of noise. It's warm. It's not what I needed. Lauren wasn't feeling well, so we're back at her cousin's apartment, chilling. I'm thinking, which is what I needed to do, recording this, which is good to do. And so this is should be it for the personal log for Sunday the 21st. Expect another one tomorrow. But since I'm at a standstill, there's not really much more to say today. If you have any feedback or questions or anything like that, feel free to email me, dustin@atheistnomads.com. I'll be happy to answer anything anybody asks. Earlier I talked about the weird mix of emotions, and I do think I should elaborate a little bit more about that. The emotions that I've felt, at least, and I think is probably similar for my siblings, is shock that we actually found out, after 22 years of him being gone and absent and no contact. That was very surprising that we got any news, because we were all expecting that we would never hear anything of or about him ever again. The other one that was really there, that hit hard quite a few times, was just the fact that, my father, who I got half of my genes from, he died alone. That's sad. That's sad that anybody ever has to die alone. If I'd gotten word last month that he was about to die, I would have flown out here and seen him and talked to him, and I don't know what I would have said, but it would have been there so he wouldn't have had to die alone. But instead he did, and so that's one of the reasons why I felt it was important that someone would come down here. Just, I was hoping I'd at least get to see him. That didn't happen. Didn't get to see the corpse. Of course, he's not there anymore. He's dead. He does not exist anymore. There's just the physical remains. For me, it was something about family honor to just make sure that someone came down here to try to pay some respects, to try to find out some information. So that's why I wanted to do this, why I went ahead and decided to go ahead and take advantage of the bereavement leave at work and make this trip. 13-hour drive is not easy, but well worth it. Well worth it. So that's it for today. I don't know what I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know if I'll make any progress, but I will post an update at some point tomorrow, and we'll hopefully have found out some more information, because at this point, what we all need for the most closure is to get as much information as we can about at least the final years of his life, if not the entire, as much of the time as possible. So it's going to be some interesting sleuthing tomorrow, once business hours are up and places are actually open. And so this will be interesting. So that's it for now.